الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. يا ربي لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صفيه من خلقه وخليله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وجاهد في سبيل ربه حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم اجزه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جازيت به نبيا عن قومه ورسولا عن أمته. اللهم أحينا على سنته وتوفنا على ملته وأوردنا حوضه واسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. ثم أما بعد, my dear respected brothers and sisters, if we think of Islam as a revolution against the tradition of Jahiliyyah, Islam came to change the status quo, to change polytheism and idol worshipping, to worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, but there's also an ethical revolution against the unethical practice of al-Jahiliyyah, and a social revolution against the caste system and the supremacy of those who have so much and those who have so little, masters and slaves, men against women. Islam came to change all these principles to a new, just and fair principles to establish justice and the rule of law. All people are equal under the law. Islam came to change people's loyalty to their tribe, my tribe, right or wrong, to new loyalty to Allah, His Messenger, and the Muslim community, the brotherhood based on religion, brotherhood and sisterhood in Islam. Islam came to replace the concept of might makes right and powerful dictatorship, and replaced it with the concept of shura. The Muslim community, the one ummah, should be able to choose freely their leaders. Islam came as a revolution against all kinds of slavery, enslaving people physically or intellectually. Came to free people's mind to think freely and to feel that they are only slaves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and equal to everybody else. But as we know, for every revolution there is counter-revolution. The counter-revolution is always strong and powerful, and they choose the right time, the right way to come back. And now, especially when we go for Hajj and visit Mecca and Medina, it's a very legitimate question to ask how much of Jahiliyyah is back and how much of Islam is still there. We must understand that Islam as a revolution did not totally and completely destroy Jahiliyyah. There was still some Jahiliyyah there. And Rasulullah ﷺ recognized that, understood that not everybody came to Islam, especially after Fath Makkah, when Islam became very powerful and strong, came to Islam because they are truly and sincerely believers in Islam. They just came to Islam because Islam was very powerful, and so many people like just to join the powerful. So this revolution of Islam reached its peak victory in Fath Makkah, 8 years after the Hijrah. 21 years after Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, the beginning of Al-Wahy. It took almost 21 years for this revolution to start by one man and to continue to grow until so many people followed it, and then they came back to Mecca, and Rasulullah ﷺ came back to Mecca and destroyed the idols and established the principles of Islam. And this is the victory of Islam, when the Islamic principles were manifested and materialized on the ground. All people are equal. Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila ta'arafu. And Rasulullah ﷺ in his Hajj, he established these principles when he said that no riba is recognized. All people are equal. There's no supremacy for Arab over non-Arab, white over black, man over woman, except with taqwa. in his speech, wonderful speech, right? That was the peak of the victory of this revolution that we call Islam. But the counter-revolution at that time was very weak, and they were waiting for the right time to come back. And this is what happens to every revolution. Those of you who follow what's happening, the Arab Spring, or what's so-called Arab Spring, you can see that. A revolution can happen, but the counter-revolution always automatically come back and try to strike back, and many times they were very victorious. This is how it happened in Romania in the time of Ceausescu, and then the people of Ceausescu came back. The only country that we can say that the revolution was successful in Tunisia, and the new elected president, he was one of the people of the previous president, dictator of Tunisia. But what happened in Egypt is a wonderful example of how counter-revolution comes back. When the revolution is so strong, they cannot resist at the time, but they wait for the right time and then they strike back. So if we apply this to Islam versus Jahiliyyah, how much the Jahiliyyah as a counter-revolution were able to come back? We can see, if we look carefully around, we'll find out that after the Fath Makkah, Abu Sufyan himself was the leader of Quraysh, and he found out that he cannot resist. And Al-Abbas took him to Rasulullah camping out of Medina to show him and to arrange a meeting between Abu Sufyan and Rasulullah, who also recognized the leadership of Abu Sufyan, and he wanted to tell him that I'm not here to take this leadership from you. You are an honored person. Whoever enters your house is safe. Whoever stays in his home is safe. Whoever stays in the masjid is safe. Don't resist. We will not hurt you, despite all what you have done in the past. And Abu Sufyan actually was very hesitant. Rasulullah asked him, is it not the time for you to believe that is La ilaha illallah and I'm the messenger of Allah? He said, yeah, La ilaha illallah, I'm okay with that, but the second one, I'm not sure about this. And according to many narrations, Abbas told him, listen, look at these people around you. The other alternative would be very devastating for you. So he became Muslim. Let's not question his intention, but the context tells that he was, at that point, very sincere and honest that he does not feel comfortable to become Muslim, but he became Muslim. He could not resist, because he's a very wise person. He said, no time, or there's no way to resist. But after 2 years after this incident, 2 years, only 2 years, what was the first challenge that the Muslim Ummah faced after the death of the Prophet ﷺ? In the time of Abu Bakr, only 2 years. Al-Ridda. Hurub al-Ridda. If you read the Islamic history, you'll find something called Hurub al-Ridda, the war against apostasies. Many Arab tribes decided, no Islam, no more. And some said, well, we will not pay zakat to Abu Bakr. We used to pay zakat to the Prophet because he's a prophet praying for us. So now we're not going to give zakat. But Abu Bakr insisted that we have to fight these people. Although the Muslim army was out of Medina under the leadership of Usama, they were camping there with the intention of fighting the Byzantine Empire. And Umar told Abu Bakr, how can you fight all these Arab tribes? Who is going to fight with you? He said, I will fight them if I have to fight them by myself. Those who differentiate between Salah and Zakah, I will not tolerate seeing Islam falling apart under my watch. I have to fight them. And the war that took place in these 2 years of Abu Bakr, under Abu Bakr leadership, was known as Hurub al-Ridda. Many people claim prophets, like Musaylim al-Kadhab and Sajah, female also, they claim prophets. And many Arab tribes, they refused to become Muslim or to pay zakah. And these wars were against them. So the counter-revolution tried to come back as quickly as possible, but it could not, because Abu Bakr was very determined to do that. And it couldn't take place in the time of Umar, obviously. Because Umar was very firm and very just. No fitna can take place in the time of Umar. And the Muslim Ummah was very alert. But at the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, a very gentle and nice and soft person, but not a good leader, obviously. Not every pious and kind person is necessarily a good leader. Many complaints, and interesting in the books of Islamic history, those who came to Al-Madinah from different places and surrounded his house and eventually killed them are known as Thuwar, rebels or protesters. We strongly believe that Uthman radiallahu anhu was a kind man. The Prophet was happy with him. He married 2 of the Prophet's daughters. But maybe he committed some political mistakes. Maybe by one of the greatest criticism against him that he hired so many people from Bani Umayyah. But we believe that he was mazloom, he was wrong, he was not to be assassinated. A very kind person, one of the 10 people who promised Jannah. And then the door of fitna was opened very wide. And this was a good time for the counter-revolution to come back. When Uthman radiallahu anhu was assassinated, the Muslim community were divided into 2 major groups. One, under the leadership of Muawiyah, the son of Abu Sufyan, and Aisha radiallahu anha, and many of the Sahaba, they said, we will not give bay'ah to any new leader until we brought those who killed Uthman to justice. So Muawiyah was in Asham, and many people in Medina, they decided not to wait until they fight back those who killed Uthman. Ali ibn Abi Talib was giving the bay'ah, but they refused to give him bay'ah because they said, no bay'ah before we brought those people to justice. Huge split that we still pay the price of it until today. One battle after the other between these 2 Muslim groups. And the Kharijite merged, they killed Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and then Muawiyah became the Khalifa. On some question, was it really because of the blood of Uthman or because he wanted to be the Khalifa? Was it really about Uthman? Or just refusal to give bay'ah to Ali ibn Abi Talib? And then Al-Hassan, the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib, came. People gave him bay'ah to be the Khalifa. But he found out that's not worth fighting. It's not worth fighting. I will just give bay'ah to Muawiyah, let Muawiyah be the Khalifa. Maybe he's not the most qualified, maybe I'm more qualified than him, but let him lead for the sake of bringing the community together. Let's not fight anymore. To have a Khalifa who is not 100% perfect, people who live in peace, is much better than continue this battle and this war. And this was something that the Prophet ﷺ has expected when he said about Al-Hassan, who was a young boy. My son, this son of mine, is Sayyid's leader. Sayyid means leader. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring 2 Muslim communities together because of him. And he gave bay'ah to Muawiyah, and Muawiyah became the Khalifa for almost 20 years. And then something profound happened. When Muawiyah decided all of a sudden, asked people to give bay'ah to his son Yazid to be the next caliph. And now we are going back to the tradition of Jahiliyyah. That's not the shura that Islam came with. That's not the shura the Prophet practiced. That's not the shura Umar and Abu Bakr and Uthman practiced. Now we are inventing new way that's closer to the time of Jahiliyyah than to Islam. Abu Sufyan could not fight against the Prophet, but his children did. And they came back to power, and this became the new monarch that Rasulullah expected. That when he said that there will be some Khulafa, Rashidin, and then there will be Mulk Adud, to be a monarchy. In the name of Khilafah, in the name of Islam, in the name of Da'wah, in the name of anything. There are plenty of names. What about Mulk, about controlling? It's back to Jahiliyyah time. Shura that Islam brought was out since that time. Since that time, almost 60 years after the Prophet ﷺ, khalas. Jahiliyyah came back in many different ways. Cancelled Shura and brought a new system that's called Mulk. Mulk Adud, monarchy. Tribalism came back. Racism came back. People are proud of their last name, their race, than their Islam. It's my tribe, right or wrong, my group, right or wrong, my country, right or wrong. It's not what to follow, what is right regardless of all these things. It's back to Jahiliyyah. In fact, when you go to Mecca today, you can see the change that Islam brought, and you can also see time of Jahiliyyah has come back, symbolized in many different things. The way Al-Kaaba is built. Look at the door of Al-Kaaba. The door of Al-Kaaba was supposed to be in the ground, like any door. The door is made for people to enter. So there's no point to make doors so high. What's the point? It's Quraysh who made this door. Rasulullah said, Hadith in Bukhari, I'm not making it up. Rasulullah said to Aisha, I would have changed the way Al-Kaaba is built. Bring this door to the ground level and open another door from the other side and include the Hajj. But your people, Quraysh, closed the other door that was supposed to be next to this door, and they raised this door very high to control who can enter the Kaaba and who cannot. It's a sign of Jahiliyyah, supremacy of wealthy, white, Arabs, males, against all others. You cannot make equal leaders of the tribes with slaves and poor people. We have the key of the Kaaba. We can't allow anybody to enter and disallow others to enter the Kaaba. This is a sign. When you enter the house of Allah through the gate of kings, that's a sign of Jahiliyyah to me. I don't want to enter to Allah's house through a king. That the gates of the doors of Al-Masjid al-Haram has been replaced with names of modern politicians. Who owns these doors? I don't want to enter to Allah. It's as if you want to go to Allah, you go through us. That's to me, it's Jahiliyyah. It's Jahiliyyah. To differentiate between people are not allowed to enter with their bus because it's closed, but other buses can enter. That's Jahiliyyah. And I'm sure if Umar was there, we would never allow this to happen. All people should be treated equally. All people should be treated equally. You cannot apply the so-called Sharia or Islamic law on the poor people, not well connected, and others are obviously above the law, cannot be touched. Nobody can issue any fatwa against them, despite all what they do. Is this Sharia, or this Islam, or Quraysh tradition? So brothers and sisters, what I want to say here is that Islam did not destroy and kill Jahiliyyah totally. And Jahiliyyah waited until the right time comes back, and they came back as any counter-revolution in the world. And now it's our choice. It is our choice. Rasulullah told us clearly. He said in the hadith, "Man ya'ish minkum ba'di fasayara ikhtilafan kathira." Whoever lives long after me, he will see plenty of differences. Plenty of differences. The pure Islam that was well established and was very victorious, Rasulullah expected the counter-revolution to come back. If you live long enough, you will see so many differences. فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِسُنَّتِي وَسُنَّةَ الْخُلَفَاءِ الرَّاشِدِينَ الْمَهْدِيِّينَ مِنْ بَعْدِي. Follow my sunnah and the sunnah of the truly guided caliphs after me. The revolution would stay for some time, and these Khulafa al-Rashidin were replaced with other Khulafa that were not very Rashidin. Their intention was not really serve Islam as they claimed, and they give themselves beautiful names: Al-Mutawakkil, Al-Amin, Al-Ma'mun, Al-Rashid, Al-Hakim bi-Amrillah, Al-Mu'tasim billah. But it's not about Islam. It's about mulk. So Rasulullah expected this to happen. He said, "Alaykum bi-sunnati." Follow my sunnah and the sunnah of al-Khulafa al-Rashidin al-Mahdiyyin min ba'di. Addu alayha bin-nawajis. Hold fast to it. Because you will see plenty of differences. You will see plenty of differences. So it's our choice. It's our choice to choose between either Islam or the time of Jahiliyyah. We can see Jahiliyyah. We are talking, we Muslims, American Muslims, we always quote this ayah. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَى وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. O mankind, we have made you into nations and tribes in order for you to know one another. Right? Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. All people are equal in the eyes of Allah, and the most honored ones are those who have taqwa. We like to recite this ayah because this represents our principles. But does this represent our behavior? We are now talking about these white supremacists who are protesting against Muslims in 20 cities, and they claim they are superior to others because they are white. And sometimes we do the same thing. When we quote our nation, our tribe, our race, right? And my nation, right or wrong, my tribe, right or wrong, my group, right or wrong, our loyalty is not to truth and haqq. No, our loyalty is more to our family and our tribe and our group. We practice racism against our fellow Muslims. We do this all the time. We do this all the time. We are back to the time of Jahiliyyah. So we need just to look at ourselves, to practice self-criticism and to see how much of Islam that we are maintaining and are truthful to, and how much of Jahiliyyah we do have. And it's up to us. It's our choice to follow the pure Islam as a revolution, or to fill in the trap of the counter-revolution and to go back to the time of Jahiliyyah. One of the tricks the counter-revolution actually did, interestingly, because they know Islam is so powerful, nobody can defeat Islam totally. So instead of coming back with the ugly face of Jahiliyyah, they came with a nice face of Islam. Nice face of Islam. Call it Islam, call it Khilafah, call it any good name. Majlis Shura. In every Muslim country there is a Shura Council, right? But where is Shura? It has just the name, because it's a beautiful name, right? Shura Council. We have Shura Council. But do we really practice Shura? Do we choose our leaders in Muslim countries through Shura, or this Shura Council just made to justify these anti-Shura regimes? So we have the choice to choose between the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ or to choose the tradition that we know today as the tradition of Jahiliyyah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to choose what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to make always the right choice. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله اتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم ملاقوه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Inshallah, we'll continue this discussion tonight after Salat al-Isha. For those of you who are interested, we'll talk about Islamic history, the brief history, and where are we today. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك رزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا. اللهم اجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث فأصلح لنا شأننا كله. اللهم لا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين ولا إلى أحد من الناس يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين. اللهم انصر دينك وكتابك وعبادك الصالحين. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء. اللهم اشفنا واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين، وانصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وأقم الصلاة.